What is up, Sztanyo, Clanyo? I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. Welcome in. We're going to talk some real estate here in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, and I hope you're having a great day. A little sip of coffee here. Wanted to talk today about new construction and does it hold its value? Does it make sense as an investment? We're coming off, nationally, where you're probably seeing a lot of headlines about the housing market cooling, and with inflation and rates going up, buyers are finally starting to back off a little bit. Really depends on where you're at nationally, I would say. I think we did in the last video here, we showed an article that from Realtor.com that in all the major metros, Cincinnati had the largest jump in terms of being a hot market. And the big factors of that are for reasons we've talked about on this channel a lot, which is the cost of living. It's affordable here. And so when you're looking, there's a lot of good amenities. There's a lot of reasons why you're going to want to buy in Cincinnati versus a lot of the Sunbelt cities that have been getting a lot of investment activity from the likes of BlackRock and other hedge funds. And so when you, the buyer, are trying to buy in Florida or Georgia or Texas or Arizona or somewhere in the Sunbelt, you oftentimes are running against cash buyers, investment funds who are bidding you out and kind of pricing you out of that market. So where do buyers kind of go to next? They're going to look for where's the next similar city that might make sense, that's affordable, that has decent weather, and Cincinnati's on that list. You see some other cities, Columbus, Indianapolis, Nashville's been really hot for the last several years, but that's part of that Sun Belt wave as well. So we're going to talk about Cincy today. We're going to talk about new construction specifically. I've done quite a bit on this channel with new construction, and there's a lot of reasons why you might want to go that route versus a resale home. We'll talk about that as we kind of go through here. But what I wanted to do in this video was kind of look back to new homes that have sold in the last couple of years and have also resold this year. That's kind of what I want to look at, both in the Northern Kentucky MLS and maybe a few properties on the Ohio side as well, and say, okay, if I'm going new construction, I'm probably going to be paying, 10 to 20% more maybe than a resale home. And so if you're trying to make a wise financial decision for your family, you're asking yourself, is it worth it? Should I, the analogy might be like, should I buy the new car off the lot? Well, I know that it's going to depreciate as soon as I take it off the lot. So is it smart? Whereas what I've done with my Sztanyo Vanyo is, I like to buy the used van that's maybe like 15 to 30,000 miles or something like that. It's like 1, maybe 2 years old, and I'm getting that discount slightly. It's almost new. I mean, if you get that new feeling, it's really nice to have, and that's one reason why you might want to go new construction. But I want to kind of look at the numbers and for you guys and look at, is it going to hold its value? If I resell that home in 1 or 2 years, am I going to hold value? Is it going to go down? Is it going to go up? So we're going to look at those numbers. If you guys are hopping in and watching the video, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. We're closing in on 3,000 subscribers, which is super fun and awesome. I think my pros and cons video got a bump this week. For some reason, the YouTube algorithm liked it, and it shot up again and got a lot of views. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. We're constantly bringing as much real estate content here, both in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati, and just like what it's like to live in the area. So I'm trying to set up some other videos here soon about different amenities. I've done some parks in the past. I've done a Reds game. I think I did like a Bengals training camp. I want to do some restaurants. I want to do some golf courses, just other fun things. I just launched a Kings Island video with my kids. Just if you're moving here from another state, what's it like to live in this city? So I'm trying to give you not just the real estate content, but also like what's it like to live here. I grew up here. I moved here when I was 6 years old from Michigan. My dad was a pilot. We came down here because Delta had a hub here in Northern Kentucky, which is the Cincinnati airport. and that was 1988. I've lived here my whole life since 1988, except for 4 years. I went to Nashville for college, but came back. I've lived on the Kentucky side most of my life, but I lived in Anderson Township in Ohio for about 8 years or so when I was volunteering for a ministry called Young Life. Yeah, I know what it's like to live here. I'm married. I've been married 17 years in December. I've got 5 kids. If you've seen our tagline on the channel, it is "Find your home, strengthen your family." So, big part of my mission. I like selling real estate. I would like to say I'm good at it, but what really gets me excited is helping families find their home. When I think about a larger mission of why I really enjoy this work, and there's a number of reasons why, but I care about families. I think strong families make for a strong city. So part of this is selfish in that I have 5 kids. I want them to live here in the city. I want to be around my grandkids, and so I want my city to be as strong as it possibly can be. And so what's really fun for me is when families who are maybe living in other cities are reaching out and they're like, "Hey, Cincinnati looks cool." I'm like, "Hey, you're right. It is. It's really cool. This is a really good city. If you want to put down some roots and you're thinking maybe multi-generationally about your family, or you just want to raise your kids and find an affordable place, like this is a great place to come to. Good schools, affordability, big city amenities, but kind of a small town feel." So that's Cincinnati in a nutshell. I love it here. I plan on staying here. I'm going to be, I want to be around my kids, my grandkids. The other reasons I love real estate is I can invite my kids into this business. So that's going to be fun when they get old enough for that. And they're already helping in some ways. Here's an example of why this city is great. Last night, I've talked a lot about the Bengals on this channel. Maybe some of you who are longtime subscribers know I've done some, and I'll be doing this again because I'm excited. I think this year we're gonna be right there back in it. We had a kind of a magical run last year, but I think the team's actually better this year. So it's gonna be really fun. But so a lot of you may know that I'm a Bengals fan, and I like to do Bengals reviews on the channel because I watched that and I kind of host games at my house with some of my friends. But further down, like my true love of sport is baseball. And I played baseball all growing up. I played for my high school team. I didn't try out in college because I was like, I'm not going to go pro in this. I think it's time to hang it up. But I love baseball. Last night I went to my first Reds game of the year. So one thing that's great about Cincinnati, if you're a baseball fan, we haven't been good in a long time. We have a great history. First Major League Baseball team, big red machine, swept the A's in the World Series in the 90s, but it's been a long drought since then. We had a playoff in 95. 99, we had a one-game playoff drought. 2012, we were up 2-0 against the Giants and then got swept the final 3. And I think 2015 maybe we had a one-game. I can't remember. It's been bad. Last night was a great example. I went down with my sons and 2 of my friends and one of their sons. And you guys, if you're not from around here, this is going to blow you away. I bought tickets for $7 each to get in the stadium. $7 to get in the stadium. The attendance was, man, I don't know, probably like 10,000, maybe less. So if you want to be part of a huge crowd and, enjoy, like you can go to the Bengals games and you can pay the $200 a ticket. If you want to, like, one of the things I love about baseball is that, it's romantic. There's a pace and a rhythm to it. It's built for conversations. And so while football and other sports might be like keep you on the edge of the seat exciting, baseball has a flow to it that when you watch it, particularly when you're there with people, you get a moment between pitches, between innings, between plays where you get to interact with the people you go with, which is one of my favorite things about watching the sport, especially in person, because the sounds, the smells, the sights, like they're all just they're just awesome. Like I love going to Reds games. It's the first one I've gone to this year. I'll get to the real estate guys soon, but one reason why like I love it, I've actually had to kind of crush it because I've decided not to let my kids play, which is kind of a weird thing, but I don't, because I have 4 boys. I'm like I want to be around my dining room table with my kids. And so we've decided kind of not to do team sports. We're going more towards golf, something that I can do with them when they're adults as opposed to the baseball route. But last night reminded me of how great this city is. I was home in 8 minutes from the ballpark, 10 minutes, something like that. And I had $7 seats. And I saw a grand slam, and we saw 11-2 win, and we saw the guy for the Marlins, their second baseman, who threw 40-mile-per-hour pitches and got a pop out to the track, and then he made a double play. It was amazing. So that was super fun. All right, let's talk real estate. That's why you guys are here. First thing I want to look at is let's look at some of these communities. Now, there's a lot of different builders in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati. Fisher Homes is the largest. You also have Drees Homes. You have MI Homes. You have, what else you got? You have Arling House, which is a little bit smaller. Those are kind of the bigger players. You have Ryan Homes as well. But I've done a lot with Fisher because I've been happy with how they treat my clients. I've been happy with their product. And they've got a lot of selection to choose from. So that's why you've probably seen more videos on the channel around Fisher. Now, they're actually broken down between Ohio and Kentucky. So here's their Ohio neighborhoods that they're in. And you can see both on the Ohio side and the Kentucky side as I zoom in here from the map. And this makes sense on kind of any major metro, is that where most of the building is happening is kind of where you're pushing out away from the center downtown kind of urban core of the city. And then you've kind of got, so in Cincinnati, you've got downtown, you've got this I-275 loop, which goes kind of around the city, briefly into Indiana and back, and that's kind of like a lot of your suburb areas. And then your suburbs actually push out a little bit further. They have been pushing out over the last, 20, 30 years in terms of growth. So on the Ohio side, a lot of that growth is out into Loveland and Mason and Westchester, and now even beyond into like Lebanon, even getting close up to Middletown, where it's kind of closing that gap between Cincinnati and Dayton. So that's where, because there's just more land out there. So you can build, that's where builders are able to still buy some land. Most of the land inside here has already been bought up. So it's hard to get any kind of new construction very close to the city, which is why I did a video recently. This one's coming soon. There's one coming right kind of in my neck of the woods, Memorial Point, which is about as close to the city as you can actually get. And so it's right by Fort Thomas. It's actually in Southgate, but you're not seeing many of those. There's one in Villa Hills here as well. I'm sorry, that's Fort Mitchell. And then these are Crescent Springs and the Reserve at Meadowwood and Sanctuary Village, which is Villa Hills. So all these are going to be 10, 12 minutes to downtown. This one's going to probably be like 8, 9 minutes to downtown. But most of them are going to be pushing out. The homes I want to look at, because we've talked about this previously, is over in Union, Kentucky. And so in Union, some of the big neighborhoods where there's still new construction is the Triple Crown neighborhood. So you've got Justify at Triple Crown. That's where a lot of growth has gone the last several years. You've got Villas at Union Point. They've got some really cool patio homes and paired patio homes. This is right across the street from Ryle High School. That would be interesting to check out. And then you've got one of their signature communities here, which is Ballyshannon. I've done a video previously on the channel of Ballyshannon versus Triple Crown. You've got paired patio homes in there, and you've also got single family homes. And what's cool about this neighborhood is it's kind of built right around, I don't know if I can see it from this map, but there's a Ballyshannon Middle School is right in the middle of this neighborhood. So in terms of a walkable school area, it's really cool. You've got school right in the neighborhood. You're very close to Randall Cooper High School. So there's this neighborhood's been building out the last few years with a lot of different homes. So what I want to look at, and again, feel free if you guys are jumping in and watching to leave and put any questions in the chat. Be happy to answer any of your questions about new construction or anything else real estate related on Cincinnati while we're here. I want to look at, let me see if I can bring this up for you guys. These homes sold here. Let's see if you guys can see this. Let me condense this. See if that, hide the sidebar. shrink this down. Okay, there you go. I think you guys can see that now. So these are, if you guys can see this on your screen, if you look at the top where the status of what these homes are, these are all homes that sold in Ballyshannon that have at least 4 bedrooms, and they sold between July of 2019 and July 2020. So I went back a couple years to look at what were these and these are all new construction, by the way. And I wanted to kind of get a feel for how much did these homes cost 2 years ago, basically. So from 19 to 20. And if you look at these homes and you look down here at this average row, good. I think my highlight is pulling up right here. You can look at the sold price right here that I've highlighted. And the average list price was $380. The average sold price was $375. So some of these, especially the ones that you see a longer days on market, that's because they were market homes. They didn't sell right away. So some of those might have sold under their list price, which that's a kind of a pro tip. If you're looking to kind of get a deal maybe from one of these builders, is see what they have on the market, because they've already built those homes. And if they've already built their homes and they're trying to sell them, that might be where you could get maybe a little extra incentive, maybe a little extra discount. They don't usually like budging on the price on homes that are being built from the beginning. What they rather do is give you incentives on your upgrades. So if you go to the design center, they might say, we're going to give you $15,000 if you spend $30,000 or something like that. That's what they like to do, because they want those prices. They don't want to mess with the price, because that's going to affect all their future build prices. So they'd rather give you discounts on incentives. But if you're looking at market homes that have been out there and haven't sold yet, and so these properties have already been built or finalized being built, all the selections have already been made, so you don't actually get to make those selections yourself. But if they've been sitting a little bit, that might be where you could get potentially a little bit of a deal on the price. They might do a price drop for you to get those sold, because they want to keep those flowing. They want to get on and build the new houses. They don't want to have a bunch of inventory on the market. And I'm starting to see some of the email in terms of the market cooling, and where we discussed about this last week on our live was the market is cooling, sort of. Like the growth, where we kind of talked about it, is like the growth is cooling. So the prices are still going up, demand is still high, supply is still low, but the prices aren't going up as fast as they were. And you might see some properties that are sitting on the market a little bit longer than they were, especially if you compare back to April, May, June, where it was just everything was flying off the shelf, and in 15 to 20 multiple offers, something like that. So looking back at this, you see the average sale price back in 2019 to 2020 was $375 in Ballyshannon. Okay. So let's scroll down, because I ran a similar search criteria of 4 bedrooms plus in Ballyshannon, except I ran it from July 26 to July 22. And still 4 bedrooms, but the average sale price jumped from $375 to $481. Pretty big hike. And now, this is a pretty broad search, but let's take a look. Let's see here. Let's just do this real quick. Let's look at our desktop. So what were my numbers again? 481 and 375. So let's do this. 481 minus 375. So in a couple of years, we saw $106,000 growth. Let's divide that by 375. Equals 28% over 2 years, roughly. So you saw about 14% a year growth on the new construction. And again, so the idea that I'm trying to get across here, or that I want to look at with you guys, is like, are these new construction homes worth it? Are they holding their value or not? And so what we're seeing, because all those the homes that I showed you from this year that sold were all built within the last few years. None of them were new construction. They were all resale homes in that neighborhood. And what you saw, at least over the last 2 years of appreciation, roughly speaking, we're not looking at the exact same houses, though I'm going to show you that next, was about 14% growth in that neighborhood. So That's interesting to me. That's really exciting. And certainly, if you guys are reaching out to me to look to buy a home in the area, again, the pros of buying a resale home are it's going to be a little bit cheaper than a new construction home for sure. And, you know, um, those are some of the bigger pros. You can pick the neighborhood. The neighborhoods are going to be a little bit more mature. So if you don't want to wait for trees to grow up and things like that you're going to see with a new construction neighborhood, that's going to all be done for you. And then it just depends on the condition of the house and where the upgrades are. So maybe the previous owners did some upgrades that you really like. The cons to buying a resale home is typically you're going to be fighting against some other buyers if it's in a good condition and priced right. So you'll probably be in multiple offers. Though if you're okay with that, you just need to have an agent who can help you win on the offer. And it might take 1 or 2 or 3 tries. It just depends on how competitive it is and what the situation is like. If it just hit the market, it's probably going to be in multiples if it hasn't made it through that weekend yet. But there's different things we can do. We can talk about escalation clauses, and we can talk about potentially what we want to do with the inspection contingency or even an appraisal gap clause, things like that. We're going to help you with that. New construction, on the other hand, the pros are you can pick out the floor plan you like, so you don't have to cram yourself into someone else's floor plan or what's available for you on the inventory. Everything's brand new, so that's kind of fun. You can pick out the colors and all the design patterns, and you get to choose all the designs of the house, basically the exterior, the interior, all that stuff. But it's going to cost a little more, so that's a big negative. The neighborhood's probably going to be like less mature. Trees are going to be smaller, and it's probably going to be a little bit further out from the city in general in terms of location. But again, on the plus side, you're usually very rarely are you going to be competing against another buyer on a specific lot. It's basically the price is what it is. There's not a lot of negotiation that's going to be done. You might be able to get some incentives, especially if it's like a market home. But usually the builders kind of set those in stone. Only if they're like really having trouble moving the inventory are they going to offer some other discounts. One thing that Fisher Homes has right now with their lender Victory Mortgage is they're offering a pretty good deal on extending lock rate on interest rate locks. So if you are concerned about interest rates going up, which has certainly been a thing the past few months, they've got a pretty good program with their lender. If you work with us, we usually give you a couple of other lenders you can check out as well, so you can kind of compare apples to apples on the rates and if it makes sense to you. I want to look at a few specific properties here that I know resold. So this one here, and again, just to show you where this is at on the map, you're south from downtown Cincinnati. You're probably from Union. You're probably 25 minutes to downtown, something like that, maybe 30, depends on traffic, I guess. You're closer to the airport in Cincinnati. Oops, you guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing here. Let's get back to the map. So you're down here in Union. This is Ballyshannon. There's, if you don't want to go downtown, Florence has like all the shopping you're going to need. You've got your Costco's and your Targets and Walmarts and Kroger Marketplace, all that stuff. And Union's building out a big development called Union Promenade that that's going to have cool shopping and restaurants as well. So that's coming soon. So like I said, you're probably 25 to 30 minutes from downtown in Union. But I wanted to look at a few properties here that have resold, and let's look at their specific pricing versus just all of them. So let's see, I marked a few of these. 6253 Auburn Lane. This is one of them. Let's look at the detail of this property. Okay, so this property sold back in March of 2020 for $259,582, and then just resold for $350, basically 2 years later, 3 days on the market. So here's one that was on the market. They got it for probably a little bit less, which is nice because it was at $278. So this is exactly kind of what I just said. It was new construction and it didn't sell right away. So they got it a little bit, they actually got it about 20 lower than what it was originally listed at. So good for them. And then they put it on the market for $349. And let's see here. Let me do the details here. Yeah, they listed it for $349. It sold for $349.9. So good for them. And let's see, did they do any updates? This wonderful home has so much to offer. It sits at the back of a cul-de-sac. Home features include an open floor plan, stainless appliances, walkout to deck, and the walkout basement with full bath rough. So they didn't even finish their basement, guys. Okay? So this house, they bought it in 2020 for $259. They sold it 2 years later for $349. Let's go to our handy calculator. So 349 minus 259 equals 90 in equity divided by 259, which was their original purchase price. They got roughly 35% in 2 years divided by 2, 17% appreciation over 2 years. Nice work. So, I mean, I don't know which market you're in for Cincinnati. And again, guys, if I were to play the devil's advocate on this video, I would say, well, Eric, it's been like the hottest markets ever the last few years. And we might be heading into a recession if we're not already in one. By the time you guys are watching this, the numbers may have come out. I think we're in a recession. 2 quarters of negative GDP, and you're going to say high inflation, and you're going to say, why would I buy new construction now? Because the housing market is going to crash. And that's a fair point. I don't agree with you, Mr. Hypothetical person who's out there, that the market's going to crash. I think it's going to slow down. But where we are from it, just boiling it down to its simplest economic, which is what I need simple, factors of supply and demand of where we are now versus where we were in 2007, 2008, where we had a lot of inventory and not a lot of demand. And right now we've got a lot of demand and not a lot of inventory. I think it will slow down. I don't think it will crash. And so it's definitely fair for you to say, well, that house hit the hottest markets over the last few years. And they saw 17% growth per year, which is a lot here in the Cincinnati area. That is uncommon. So will you see that growth? Probably not. Like, I wouldn't say you're going to continue to see as high of demand, as high of appreciation as we've seen in the last few years. I think we've probably hit our peak, but I also don't think it's going to crash. And so the question in the video is, will the new construction home hold its value? And I would say, yeah, you might not get 70% a year. You might see 10. You might see 12. You might see 8. But you're getting a brand new house that's still appreciating. That's kind of where I think you'll be. I don't have a crystal ball, but let's look at another one here. 4569 Donegal was one I saw. You know what? Before we move on from this one, let's just show you what this house looks like at 350 here in Northern Kentucky, so you guys can see. Let's look at the photos. Whoops, I keep forgetting to transition for you guys. Okay, so hang on, I gotta exit out of this. Okay, so this is what a $349,000 house that sold in 2022 looks like. This doesn't look like granite counters to me. So here's another point I want to make as you guys go through this house. This was not the fully pimped out new construction house. They chose a lot more base level materials. They may have put that in themselves, that little shiplap there. But that's not a granite counter. That's a Formica kind of vinyl counter. So this is base level, and they benefited from the appreciation in the neighborhood, no question. You buy for $259, you sell for $349, $90,000 in equity in 2 years. Way to go! I mean, what was your monthly payment on this house? Maybe like $1,500, and you had a 4-bedroom, maybe $1,700. Not a lot, and you got a brand new house. And it appreciated $90,000 in 2 years. I'd say that's a pretty good deal. I say these guys did all right. Here's your deck. So here's what I'm talking about with the newer, the newer neighborhoods. New houses are going in. So you don't have the mature trees, It's going to take a little time for that. But they did leave some of them, so that's nice. This is not my favorite backyard. They fenced it in back there, but you got a drainage ditch here. And you got power lines in your backyard. And you made 90 grand in 2 years. So good job, 6253 O'Byrne Lane. What's the next one? 4569 Donegal. Okay, let's look a little higher. Where is that one? Here. Okay. So this one sold for $425. Let's look at the history here. Actually, we'll just look at the photos while we're at it. Okay, so a little bigger floor plan. You guys can see we got, it's either granite or quartz counters, a little updated lighting. You got the 2-story living room here, which a lot of people like that with the Fisher homes. Lets in a lot of light, makes it feel really grand and large. They didn't have anything finished here. Like a lot of people finish out this fireplace or have a fireplace there. So fairly basic again. Kitchen's a little bit updated. Got your gas stove and hood, but a simple backsplash. I like this layout. It's got a little mini office off the side and a walk-in pantry here. And your mudroom, if you guys can see that, right off the garage. There's your garage. Here's your front door over here. I keep forgetting you can't see my mouse. I need to fix that for next week. So this is a 4-bedroom home. There's that mudroom right off the garage. Half bath on the first floor. You've got a little mini rec room here halfway down your basement. I love this floor plan. I'll have to look at the details to remember the name of it. But you've got a rec room right off the kitchen that's only like halfway down, and then you've got another finished basement all the way down. This might be the Charles. We'll take a look here. Then you've got your master like right behind you on these steps. There's your master. Again, this is basic. You don't have your trade ceilings. So they didn't go all out with their options. And bedroom, bedroom, bedroom. So you got 4 bedrooms upstairs. You got laundry upstairs. Nice. So this is, let's look at the detail here. This is the beautiful 1-year-old Fisher home. Has so much to offer. Granite counters. I don't see the name of it. I think it's the Charles. I could be wrong on that. So this home, let's look at it, sold originally. Oh, it's been sold. Oh, it's active right now. Interesting. They sold in February of 21 for $390, and then 1 year later, in March, it sold for $425. So let's do our math again. So they made 35, right? So 35 divided by, was it 390? Is that what I said? Yeah. 35 divided by 390. So not as much on this one. 9% appreciation in 1 year. So that's good to see too. Whoops. But 1 year later, or a year and a half later, they've got it active at 510 right now. So maybe they're going to make their leap. Looks like they're selling it again. And it's been 5 days on the market. They actually went a little too high. So let's say that sells for 500, maybe even 490. And you've gone up another, 65 in appreciation in equity from the 425 from a little over a year, not quite a year and a half ago. So there's that appreciation hitting that one as well. So I could do the same thing, guys. I ran a few in Ohio as well, looking at Batavia. Let me see if we can get this real quick. This is one. Actually, this is Derby Place. So this is in Batavia on the east side of the city, right off of Highway 32, Lexington Run and Derby Place. And this house, let's take a look at the history. was under construction, and it sold for 383, 384 in August of 21. They listed it right after and sold for 425. So that's an interesting one. So not even a few months later, I don't know the full story there, but they made they sold for 425. What is that? $41,000 in 2 months. So nice job, whoever had that one. There's one other one. 1536 Canterbury. Let me look at that one real quick. 1536 Canterbury. Actually, let me do this real quick. This is up, and I've showed and sold some homes up in Shaker Run. I did a video on that neighborhood. It's got a golf course inside the neighborhood, and you get a free membership your first year, which is kind of fun. So this is up by Lebanon, kind of the north side of the city, a little further north of Mason, Shaker Run Golf Club, and it's the lakeside at Shaker Run and majors at Shaker Run. So a few communities up there. You got condominiums. They offer kind of everything, condominiums, single family, and patio homes up there. Okay, what was the? Okay, so here you go, 1536 Canterbury. We'll take a look at it. It sold for 345 in June of 2020, and not quite a year and a half later went for 410. So what is that? 65 divided by 345. So 18 in about a year and a half. So you're probably looking at, or a little less than a year and a half. Maybe 10 to 12% per year, something like that. Just to show you guys one on the Ohio side. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the house real quick. So this was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2 full, 1 half, 2,500 square feet. Sold for 410 this year. 2-car garage. Really similar layout to the one we just saw in Ballyshannon. So no upgrades made by the owner during the time they own it, and the equity happened. Equity happens. Yeah, there's that rec room that's kind of halfway down, and there's your unfinished basement. So you got all that storage space down there too. Let me go back. I want to see the original listing here. So this is the Avery Coastal Cottage by, is this Fisher or Dries? Yeah, it's Fisher Homes, the Avery. So that's a really cool design. And then you've got, in Shaker Run, you've got community pool, clubhouse, and access to their golf course here. Which is, so you're a little further out on the north side of the city. Again, you might be a little further. It might be 35 minutes to downtown. Maybe 40, depending on traffic. So it's a little further north. So if you can work from home and you don't mind that, the houses are going to be a little cheaper up there than they would be anywhere in Mason or Loveland, anywhere closer to the city in terms of new construction. So, all right, checking the chat, not seeing anyone. I think I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. Again, the idea was, do new construction homes hold their value? The answer is yes. In fact, they're increasing in appreciation anywhere from 10 to 17% we saw per year over the last couple of years. So when if you're thinking about moving here and you're thinking resale, again, the pros of resale is you're going to get more probably square footage for the home for less. The downside is you don't get to pick the layout as much or the designs, and you might need to do some updates yourself when you move in. Versus the new construction is going to cost a little bit more, but everything's going to be done the way you want it. So, and it's going to hold its value and probably going to appreciate because you're picking neighborhoods that are desirable and are new, are exciting, are probably close to good schools. Yeah, that's the idea. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful for you. We got more content coming on. If it was, please like below. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. If there are other videos you guys want to see, let us know. Trying to make as much as possible for you guys. We're closing in on 3,000 subscribers. That's super exciting. We're trying to, we're looking at different videographers. We're trying to reach out to maybe some local interns at the colleges to see if I don't know how to do drone footage, guys. You've maybe seen some of my interviews. My audio is terrible, so I got to figure this stuff out. I need someone younger who's more tech savvy than me to help me make this channel better for you guys. But I'm doing my best. I hope it's helpful for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.